Okay, so now this one, if you guys are here, this one should be the private one now. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. When I set it up to be private, and then it seems like it ends up not being private. So I'm trying to make sure. Okay, now I know it's private. Okay, good. Yeah, because I definitely don't want, people feeling like they're getting a mixed message. If I said I'm not going to be on YouTube, then I'm not going to be on YouTube. Someone said, how is V Smith? Golden Goddess, she's fine with the exception of, people creating fake accounts of hers in order to try to discredit me. But other than that, she's fine. Golden Blackie said an alert didn't go out. Well, that's good. Let me know, you guys, how the audio is, because again, I'm not around my audio equipment, and I'm only able to use the speakers that are on the computer and the microphone that comes with the camera, but I don't really use it. So I don't know how it's sounding to you guys now. And I'm doing good for everybody who's, oh, you guys said the audio is fine. Okay. Well, I'm doing good for everybody who's asking. Hopefully you guys are doing good at the, beginning of the weekend. For everybody that has to still be, working and reporting and reporting to work and going to school each morning, school mostly. 12 Keys to Freedom said, is your Twitter account still suspended? Yeah, they permanently suspended that Twitter account. And so I'll have another one. I just need to make a new one, and I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. So that's why I haven't posted it because I haven't gotten around to making another one. And I don't know why the Twitter account got suspended. I'm assuming it was from these beta males getting up in their emotions over my video about them, or my post about them shaving their heads. But when Twitter suspends your account, let's get this one thing right. They don't really tell you why they're suspending your account. They just suspend it. So, nope, they don't give you any information. They just suspend your account. And so I'm just at this point assuming some dusty beta males got in their feelings and went on a reporting. Look, they have time to do everything except attack white supremacy. That's what they have. They have time to try to fight everyone and everything except white supremacy. They'll submit to that, but they can't go on there and attack any of these white supremacist accounts on Twitter. They have to keep it to sabotaging their people and things of that sort. And then the fact that these are supposedly Black men that are doing these things is really interesting, because I don't really get a lot of that from females, whether they're white or other. I don't really get a lot of females blocking and reporting my stuff. Usually this is men that are doing this. So I don't even know what era we're in with these dudes these days, but there's a epidemic of dusty beta-ness. So that's how I feel about that. Golden Black said, I'm over Twitter. Everybody that need to get in touch with me off there already has my number, which has been the same for the past 5 years. Yeah, the thing of it is I'm going to have to start getting off of their social media too, because it's heavily censored. I don't have time for it. Like, the fact that it's like, they give you these vague, dumb responses as to why your stuff was suspended. And it's always some stupid idiotic reason where you're having to rely on what white people define as everything. Like, I'm tired of it. You only just see a bunch of dusty coons congregating on social media, just having a straight up coon fest. And I don't really have time for that. So most of what's going on social media is unimportant, counterproductive, actually. counterproductive bullshit. Really, that's really what's going on social media. Black people aren't even, by and large, Black people are not using social media for what they could be using it for, which is a voice for liberation. We're out here using it for attention whoring and sabotaging other Black people. And that's why I talk so much about the mental illness that is running rampant in the Black community, because if we don't address that, we can't address anything. People out here are wanting to liberate communities and bank accounts and social standings and talk about different names that Black people can call each other, but nobody's doing anything about this mental illness, this mindset that's running rampant in the Black community. Actually, most people ignore it. And that in and of itself is very problematic, because you can't really get any physical change or any physical liberation if you're not first liberating the minds of Black people. That's just a reality. Network not found said my Wi-Fi is so janky. It's janky over here too. It's janky over here, and I'm trying to find an area where I can get some good lighting in. I mean, I have a window in the front, but it doesn't really let in a lot of good lighting. So I'm just trying to figure out, because if I'm on camera, I want you guys to be able to see me. And with the lighting, it might not allow you to really see me. So that's my whole thing. But yeah, everybody is running around not really understanding the system that we live in. And so, or, how what we're doing is contributing, because how are you going to deal with white supremacy and you're not dealing first with it? First, you would have to start, in order for Black people to really truly effectively deal with white supremacy, first we would have to stop supporting it. And we haven't stopped supporting it. So it's like, why do I'm not understanding what we think is going to happen. Network not found said, anywho, Cynthia, I agree, going all Patreon. You don't have to put yourself out there, but you do. Yeah, I'm thinking about keeping it all Patreon. I like the lack of trolls that I'm experiencing, actually. Because when I come on here, I don't come on here for all this petty, stupid little childish beef that people be doing. I don't do that. Even when I was in high school, I never really engaged in high school immature beef. So now as a woman, in my 30s, I'm definitely not interested in doing that. That's not part of what I signed up for. So I don't do the whole go back and forth Twitter beefs and YouTube video battles. Like I'm not about to do that. So shout out, Dane said, shout out to Golden, Tiana, Lori, Aaron, Legendary, and Lavender Spices. Exactly. Shout out to everybody that Dane, just because y'all really be on it in terms of people trolling and backstabbing and things like that. Y'all really be on it. So thanks for that. But yeah, we really got to do something about Black people's not just complicity in white supremacy, but 100% support of it. And the thing is, this is something that Black people want to ignore, because Black people want to say, well, we're victims of white supremacy, which we are, but there's still things, you're a victim of your own complicity for white supremacy too. Golden Goddess, you have been gone for quite a bit, because I haven't seen you in here in quite a while. Sorry, guys, I had to I'm still trying to get used to this whole coughing being an indication of when you need to deal with your asthma. That's kind of weird to me still, so I'm kind of getting used to that. But we're not going to have any liberations. Exactly. You said we're victims of ourselves. Yeah, we are. Shout out to Phil from advice shown here. Shout out to you. We are victims of ourselves, and a lot of things that we do contribute to this society that we're in. Actually, Phil, I was just watching your video on Dusty Beta Males, and you were basically saying the same thing, where you're talking about the amount of people who have the mindset of a white supremacist in view, the Black community as such. So I was just listening to that before I went live. But we really, shout out to Big Sap. But we really do need to address what we do in the system. And I know a lot of people say don't focus on the coons and focus on the people who get it. Well, unfortunately, the coons outnumber the people who get it. And so what's happening is that the coons are running amok, unchecked, causing damage, almost irreversible damage to the Black community. And people are too busy ignoring the coons, so they don't see that this is a real big problem. This is why I choose to talk about these things, because they're extremely important. That's just a reality of it. We have these coons running amok, doing so much damage. People are talking about don't focus on them. And then you have conscious people who are coons claiming to be conscious people, actually building up followers and indoctrinating them with a mindset that's only further conducive to staying in the system of white supremacy, because people clearly can't tell the difference between those who really want to seek liberation for the community and who really just want money, really, truth be told. And you can always find somebody, you can always find that wherever you find somebody who is going to be censoring their message to cater to a thought process that's not only false, but should really be getting dismantled and disregarded. But we're not doing that. And it sounds like I'm ranting right now, and for the most part I am, but we're not doing that. So that's why we're having these issues. I was actually just writing about this in my book last night about the numerous things that Black people do. Golden Black said F is an undercover Dusty Beta Male. Yeah, I thought we exposed that a long time ago, and F haven't been back in here since that time, which confirms everything that everybody's been saying about him. Or he, she, or whoever. I don't know. F the cool kids is a dude, I would assume. It's always a dude doing something. It's just really, it's always a dude doing something, and these are supposed to be the leaders. It just doesn't. It's just real stupid. Angelica said it's hard not to focus on the coons because there's so many. Oh, the coons outnumber. The coons are the majority. That's what people, Black people like to do that. And it's not just with Black people. They like to do that with everybody, because if you notice, when they're dealing with white people, they'll talk about the good white people who are so rare that it's almost, you just wouldn't even mention it. It's like, it's so rare to find a non-racist good white person. And I don't know what you consider good. I guess they consider that in the absence of them calling them a nigger, while still benefiting from white supremacy, I think they look at that as good. But they do that with other people too. That's why they sit there and tell Black people all white people aren't bad. So once again, they're focusing on the minority because it's easier to do that. It's easier to pretend that, you know, most white people are not bad than to accept the reality that they are, including the ones that you're laying up with. You think, yeah, Phil said, yeah, Blacks rather attack me over calling out the Young Turks. And the fact that they would, again, that's right there is it too, because how are you going to sit here and attack a Black person for calling out a group of white people who are only talking about your problems but doing absolutely nothing? So really, they're benefiting from talking about it because they're getting all that ad revenue. I don't think YouTube is censoring the Young Turks. I really don't. So they're really sitting up there getting paid to talk about things that we talk about. They have no problem with that. But Black people, when you point out, look, they're only benefiting off of talking about your drama. And this is the exact thing that I'm talking about, by the way. That's the exact thing that I be talking about. Black people supporting white supremacy. And this is why we keep going around in a circle. It's like a hamster on a wheel, because we literally refuse to acknowledge this. And as I was writing in my book last night, I was actually getting really discouraged because of the fact that these things are true. You know, these things that these observations between the Black community they're just too true. And I know that if I recognize it, I know that the powers that be and just in general white supremacy recognizes it, especially in a way to benefit off of it. The Young Turks and then Google Preferred. Yeah. So then they of course, then, you know, they're just making all types of money. So basically, they're just making a ton of money off of talking about Black people stuff. They're not getting censored. And yet, Black people, they got a discrimination lawsuit that you're reporting about, which is very hard to get, even with the Human Rights Commission, because I actually have something similar, because I watched your video. But with the Human Rights Commission, they're not going to pick up a case. And I can tell you that from experience dealing with the Human Rights Commission. Like I said, I'll tell you that I'm dealing with them right now for a racist incident in a grocery store. And they're not going to pick up something unless there's evidence of it being there. So that's just the reality. The Human Rights Commission, especially to the degree that it's going public, they're not going to do. The Human Rights Commission is actually similar to an attorney. If they don't feel like a case is winnable or that it exactly meets what the law defines as discrimination, they're not going to be. They're certainly not going to do anything about it. So the fact that they even have a case about it says that obviously there's enough there for them to explore it. So. But Black people just really don't care about that. I really believe, just so you guys know, I really believe that Black people do not want white supremacy gone. I don't believe that Black people want white supremacy gone. Black people are okay with white supremacy. They have no problem with the system of white supremacy being intact. Black people are simply seeking comfort within the system of white supremacy. And as long as we fail to realize that, then we're going to fail to understand why we're not getting anywhere, because you only get as far as you pursue. So the Young Turks are racist. Yeah, they are. But again, Black people don't really care about racism. Black people's issue isn't that racism is thriving. Black people's issue isn't even really that Black people are being oppressed. Black people's issue is that white people won't be nice to them and pretend to like them and accept them while oppressing them. That's the real problem. Or that's the real problem that Black people see. You got, and you can look all over through history with our civil rights ancestors. I mean, and no disrespect to them, but they weren't pursuing liberation from the system of white supremacy. They were pursuing integration into it. So they really just wanted to be closer. That's really all they wanted. So Golden Black said, I have astronomy notes to go over. I dropped astronomy, Golden. Like, I wasn't even about to deal with astronomy on that level. So I went ahead and dropped that when I was taking it. But yeah, that's a hard class to do. That is a hard class to do. I'm trying to move this around just so y'all know that I'm trying to move this around so that I can get see about getting some lighting going and then turning on the camera. So give me a second. The only thing that made me happy today is the sister obtained a $70K government contract from info from one of our interviews. Oh, wow. Great. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to plug this up. And let me see if I to this camera. What do we got going here? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out for this lighting. If the lighting isn't looking right, then. But it looks like it might be to where we can just sit right here. So what are you guys kind of thinking? Okay, I think the lighting is cool. So we'll just do this lighting. You said I look young as hell. Well, I don't know how. Yeah, no, we don't. We don't have critical thinking or analytical skills. We really don't. Hold on for a second. But no, we don't have critical thinking or analytical skills. And we act like we have zero foresight. And that's even more problematic than the lack of critical thinking skills. But I guess if we had critical thinking skills, we would be able to have foresight and understand what we're doing that's very problematic. We would have that ability. Aaron, the real Aaron Collins said, have you talked about the Monique issues with Netflix yet? And let me talk about that now. And the reason why sometimes I don't talk about these situations, the reason why I sometimes don't talk about these situations is because I don't do videos on them, because I'm not going to talk publicly negatively about Black people. I try to actually avoid doing that. And the thing of it is, the reason why I try to avoid doing that is the hair isn't darker, the hair is the same color. It's just different lighting. But the reason I avoid talking about these situations is because it's about having a code. I'm not going to publicly go back and forth on social media, because I know people who are, I already know that your enemies and your detractors are looking at what you do publicly. So I'm not about to sit up here and talk negatively about someone. But look, the thing of it is Black people really need to understand what getting on code means. Getting on code doesn't mean that you have to agree with what every Black person says. Getting on code means that you need to understand that there's a time and a place, and that you don't go on public platforms and talk negatively about your own people, because you would understand that that reflects poorly on you. And TTV Chant 99 said, I wasn't mad at Monique for asking for a boycott. My question was, why do Black people still have Netflix, period? Look, here's the thing. Monique can ask for whatever she wants. Is she going to get a boycott out of Black people? No. Black people won't boycott anything to save their lives. So I think that just shows how little Monique actually knows about her own group of people. Black people don't boycott anything. Black people don't do anything. If they're not going to boycott the NFL, they're not going to boycott paying to these companies who are funding their incarceration and their genocide, then why even ask Black people to boycott anything? Black people just don't boycott. So I think it wasn't wrong for her to ask for a boycott of Netflix. I think it was wrong for her to ask for that boycott from Black people, because Black people aren't going to give her that. But now I will say with her claims, because essentially she's saying, oh, well, Netflix is racist and they're showing gender bias. They've given
Amy Schuster, who really isn't a comedian by any regards, but because white people find her funny, white people prop up their people. We already know that. But the thing of it is also, you can't really claim racism when Netflix is paying two other Black people significantly more than they're even paying Amy Schuster. So that's just a reality. I don't think the claim that, you know, it's racism, which every company is going to do some racism, but she doesn't have the way she's putting it and the way that it's looking. If you're saying, oh, there's a racial bias and a gender bias, but then the racial bias isn't affecting the Black man, then it would just be gender. I'll talk about the Jesse Williams child support situation in a minute, but the thing of it is with Monique, she was blacklisted. Her reputation was ruined, and a lot of people need to understand that does that does put a role in there. Netflix simply doesn't see that she has the ability to be an asset more so than a liability. That's what they're giving her. We see you as a liability money, and you are now at the bottom again, and you need to work your way back to the top. That's what she's not understanding. She's not understanding that she's been blacklisted. And again, her being blacklisted, I think, is on Black people, because Black people, rather than establishing their own, they've chosen to continuously seek white people and beg them for crumbs. They could start their own production companies, but they don't want to. They want to be at the beck and call and mercy of white people. That's what Black people need to understand. Black people want to be at the beck and call of white people. They want to depend solely on what white people give, because if that's the only way they could obtain acceptance. Do I think she should have taken the money? I don't think anybody should take any money that they feel is beneath them to be taking. And I don't think it's, because that's like asking me with my education and job experience, would I take a job that somebody's offering me for $10 or $15 an hour, because most people aren't getting paid $10 or $15 an hour. I'm not going to take that, because that's beneath what I've already accomplished. That's not consistent with what's on my resume. So no, I don't think that she should take it. If she didn't feel like that $500,000 was worthy of her experience, then no, I don't think she should have taken it. I don't think she should. And I think the reason why Black people think that she should have taken it, I think it's because Black people tend to be very low self-esteem having. We don't have any self-esteem. We don't have any value. So Black people think any handout coming from white people that appears to be a lot, they feel like somebody should take it. Do you know that $500,000 is getting taxed? So she's not getting $500,000. Okay, she's not going to get $500,000 off of that. And then Netflix will make more money than she made off the deal. And it's her talent that's being sold. So no, I don't think that if $500,000 is beneath her, absolutely not. I wouldn't take it. And then, again, I wouldn't take a job where somebody's offering me $10 to $15 an hour. I'm not going to do that, because number one, it's costing me to have my degree. Okay, so I have a degree in psychology. So someone offers me $10 to $15 an hour, I'm not going to take it simply because I already know most people's working wage isn't $10 to $15 an hour. To some people, that is a lot. It's a lot to get to $10 to $15 an hour. What I say is that my education and work experience doesn't allow me to take any hourly wage below $20 an hour. It's not going to happen. So the thing of it is, and yes, I would be unemployed before I took a job that was less than $20 an hour. And the reason is because, number one, with where I live, $15 an hour isn't going to support me. It's not going to make enough money. I have student loan sharks sending me emails and letters all the time asking for money. $15 an hour isn't going to do anything about that. $20 an hour will, though. And so that's the only thing that I'm going to take. Y'all are looking at the $500,000 because most average people don't have $500,000. And you're saying, oh, well, she should have took the money. But what is $500,000 to Monique? Like $500,000 is nothing to a person who's been making millions, especially considering that $500,000 is about to get taxed. You know, you don't know what other back end deal. Did they say $500,000 and then you make money off of whatever revenue was made off of your video, or are they just giving her $500,000 and then letting that be that? Dark Child said Monique stated on the Sway in the Morning show that it was $3 million. Okay, well, let me look up that so I can see what she's actually supposed to be getting out of it, because I don't know. Because I don't know how much, like, now the themes are kind of getting weird. So Monique speaks on Netflix. Do anybody know what?
That's a clip from one of the funny.
Does anybody know what the timestamp on there? Golden Black said you probably need $35 to $40 an hour to live here comfortably. I don't know where that is, but I can tell you Seattle is one of the most expensive, one of the top 5 most expensive places to live in the country. And a person with no kids, you can get away with you can live comfortably if you make $20 an hour. But that's if you have no children. That's if you have no children. So, but I'm while I'm speaking to you guys, I'm going to try to see if I can find out where she's talking about Netflix at.
People on the planet Earth. I really enjoy it every.
They've been challenging me, baby. They be trying to do moves and things, right? Trying to look at me in the camera like, Monique, what you got? So I told them tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., me and Heather B.
Heather's going?
Okay. I told them that, Heather. I told them that.
Usually reserved. That's
Public
loud.
always gets you misconstrued.
Yes.
And before it was some other dealings that you had with another company. That's last year, so I don't like to go back.
But it's actually all tied in, but we'll make it.
It's all tied in?
Yes.
Okay. Well, when Empire, you were going through
I think this might be it.
grievances with Empire and...
not Empire.
I'm not Empire. Lee Daniels. Yes. I'm sorry.
But you guys, I'm not going to show it because of... I'm not going to show it because I don't want to deal with the copyright stuff, but we can listen to it if you guys are listening to it. And hopefully you guys can hear it. Are you guys able to hear? $430 won't even get you a rented room here. It sounds like you're living somewhere that's similar to Seattle in terms of the cost of living, because it won't get you any room here. But let me play this because you guys said you can hear it.
Lee Daniels, and he brought up some emails here and proved to us the communication that you guys were having at that point, so people didn't think you were just going off the deep end.
Yes.
You wanted to show folks this is what was going on in my life.
Yes.
And I brought it up here to show you guys. Now there's something with Netflix.
Yes.
And we saw you post this on your social media.
Hey, my loves. I am asking that you stand with me and boycott Netflix for gender bias and color bias. I was offered a $500,000 deal last week to do a comedy special. However, Amy Schumer was offered $11 million, Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle $20 million. Then Amy Schumer went back and renegotiated $2 more million because she said I shouldn't get what the men are getting, they're legends. However, I should get more, and Netflix agreed.
So you want folks to protest because of what? You said gender bias?
And color bias.
And color bias. Break this down.
So last week, we got an offer from Netflix. The offer was for $500,000. So when my husband, who was my manager, Sydney, he had sent, let me go all the way back.
Okay.
Before we even get to the deal. The first insult was Netflix had to send someone out to see my performance.
Okay.
So that's really an audition. They sent 2 of their representatives out.
Let me get this out here.
Thank you, Sugar. They sent 2 of their representatives out to see if they liked my show.
Okay.
One representative's name was Caitlin. And her response back when she saw the show, Thank you all so much for your help. She put on a great show.
And that's on the email right here.
Yes, from Netflix. That's the Netflix email. That's from their representative from Netflix.
Okay.
Now, they also sent out another representative. His name was Benjamin.
Okay.
Benjamin then sent us back an email that said, amazing show. Thank you for inviting me. Can we please have 2 more tickets for the show tomorrow? Okay. So when we then wait for the deal and we get the deal is for $500,000.
Wow.
My husband, Sidney, who is also my manager, he asked Robbie Prawl, who is the vice president at Netflix of comedy. He said, can you please explain how come Monique has this deal and Amy Schumer gets this deal and Dave Chappelle and
Chris Rock.
And they're rightfully so.
Yeah.
They should get what they're getting. Could you please explain that? Well, initially, he wouldn't even get back on the phone to have the conversation. Every time we had scheduled, Robbie Prawl was too busy. He couldn't speak with any of us. And then my husband sent them back an email saying we would be interested to think what the public would think, that you're saying Amy Schumer is $12.5 million more than Monique, and Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle is $19.5 million more than Monique. We just like an explanation. So at that point, then Robbie Prawl, his schedule got free because we were saying this looks like racial and gender discrimination. So then he got free and they got on the line with their attorneys and they were speaking with my husband, Sidney, and our attorney, Ricky Anderson. And they were speaking in reference to trying to explain how they came up with these numbers. So my husband says to Robbie Prawl at Netflix, can you please explain how come these numbers are so different? And Robbie Prawl said, well, we do our deals based on anticipation. And we anticipate that Monique is worth $500,000. So Sidney then said, well, based off of Monique's resume, she has 45 awards from around the world. She had a #1 sitcom. He ran down my resume.
Yeah.
Robbie Prawl said, resumes don't matter with us. That's not how we do our formula. It's just totally based off what we anticipate you're going to do. So Sidney then said, well, what is it about Amy Schumer that she would get 11 million, then negotiate?
Let me pause and say this, because when they say we're paying you $500,000 because we anticipate that that's only what you'll pull in, they're lying, because the whole goal is to make money. So they're not going to offer her the same amount of money that they think she would bring in, because then they're only breaking even on that. They're not even they're not even breaking even. They're making absolutely no money. So there's no possible way they would say, oh, we're going to there's no possible way they would say that we're going to pay you $500,000 because we believe that you're only going to make us $500,000. That's not how business works. That's you always pay above. You always pay them below whatever the money is that you expect them to bring in, because how are you making money? Like if they say, here, Monique, we're going to give you $500,000 because we feel like you're only going to make us $500,000, then what money do they make at that point? Like they don't make any money at that point. So clearly it's a low ball, because it doesn't make any sense. They don't go by resumes. Then what would you? So a bum can walk in there off the street and say, I want to do comedy, and can you pay me $1 million to do comedy? And they would take the bum if the bum is funny enough. Like that doesn't mean you have to be going by resume. You're not going to know. What do you mean you're not going by resume? And this is what I mean when I say most people think Black people are stupid, because to even tell her something like that, they have to be, they have to think she's stupid. Like to even tell her that clearly, they think that she's stupid. It's like, what do you mean you're giving me whatever you think I'll bring in? So how do you make money then? How do you make money off of me? Are you just sponsoring me to help me get my name out there? That doesn't make any sense to me. Dane said you cannot trust any white business institution to give you an honest explanation. They will speak vaguely and give excuses as to why they don't pay you so much, give you a job or fire you. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely, no, they do that. It doesn't make sense to me though, because it's like Black people hear $500,000 and then they get happy because most Black people don't have $100,000, will never be around $500,000. So they seem to think that that's a good amount of money. But let's continue to see if she says that it's anything about Because I want to see if it sounds like it's anything about 3 million. So far, it hasn't.
2 more million. And Robbie Prohl said, well, she sold out Madison Square Garden twice, and she had a hit movie over the summer. And then my husband said, is that not you giving us her resume? That's her resume.
Yeah.
We know, but I mean, we understand what Monique's done. And by the way, Monique is a legend. Now, those are Robbie Prohl's exact words from Netflix. She is a legend, but we just anticipate that this is what she's worth. So then they said, well, we'll go back. You know, after they had the conversation with my husband and attorney, we'll go back and we'll talk to the team and we'll see what we come up with. Well, they did come back and they said, you know, we're too far off in numbers. So thank you, but no thank you.
Wow. So they didn't even want to negotiate up.
So when I say the reason why I'm asking that we boycott Netflix is because when Netflix says that I am a legend.
And now, here's the thing.
Amy Schumer says Dave Chappelle and
none of that sounds like they offered her 3 million. So I'm confused as to who said that she admitted that it was 3 million when she's hitting out nothing about 3 million. Asha Walker says she was lowball. Where the hell are the white feminists to help her? Where are the white women in Hollywood to support her for equal pay? Well, you know, white supremacists and white feminists don't support anything that Black people do. Black people, again, it's to keep playing this game and seeking white validation that's never going to come. So this is just what Black people choose to focus their time on. They choose to focus their time chasing this concept of white approval. God only knows why they want it, but they choose to keep seeking white approval. Now, the thing of it is that I'll say again, Black people's response to this is trash. It really is. Black people's response to Monique requesting a boycott is trash, because even if you don't think that she deserved a boycott, even if you don't think that you think she should be taking the money, you don't have to put that all over social media. That's what Black people don't understand. You're not thinking about what are our actions doing to contribute to all these things. And when you keep throwing your people under the bus, all you keep showing the world is that you have no code, you aren't respectable, you don't stand for anything. It doesn't matter if you think that she shouldn't get it. It doesn't matter. Who cares? There's a lot of stuff that I don't think a given Black person should do, but I don't go around talking about it all over social media because it's a code. I'm not going to contribute to negative propaganda about Black people. I'm not going to do that. I would just not say anything at all. And I don't know why Black people think they have to have you don't have to respond to any of these things. You don't have to say anything about what you feel like Monique should or should not be doing. It is trash to literally see all these Black people out here. White supremacy loves it though, but to see Black people out here just throwing each other under the bus, not taking cues from other people who don't do this, by the way. We can look and see all day, every day. We cannot see anybody else doing this. Black people will still continue to do this. It's like, why can't we learn what we should and should not be doing? It doesn't make any sense to me. How many hundreds of years need to go by before we get a clue? TT Chan 99 said all Black people did is show Netflix they shouldn't pay Black people that much money and that Black people will still keep paying for your service. Well, and it also shows that Black people's self-esteem is still low. They still have no standards. And not only do they not have any standards, they really frown upon any Black person having standards. Monique tried to set a standard for herself and say that I know I am worth more than 500,000. And Black people have aligned themselves with the white people who said, no, you're not worth $500,000. That doesn't make any sense. I would never settle for anything that I think is beneath me. And that's called having standards. That's called having some kind of a code. That's something that Black people don't understand. All you are doing is showing the world as a Black person, all we're really doing is showing the world that we still believe that Blackness is trash and that the only thing we should do is deviate from being Black. That's literally the only thing that we do. We don't do anything else. Exactly. Angelica said we don't think collectively as a race. And we don't, because Black people have allowed white supremacists to push this think individual, think individual. And it's like, no, what do you mean think individual? Do you think white people have accomplished all of this consistent dominance by thinking individually? No. They're not thinking individual. When they think not only for all of the white people in the country today, they think of all of the white people who will be born into this system. They're thinking generational. Black people are just thinking, oh, just think individual. Never has benefited Black people ever. Like, thinking individually has never benefited Black people. And somehow they still believe that this is a good thing to do. I don't understand that. And really, most of the time, it really does only take a little bit of common sense to understand this. It's not that hard of a concept to really grasp. It's really not. The bottom line of it is if you're sitting here and you're thinking individual, you're only going to get individual results. You're only going to get individual results. When you think collectively, you get results that are long-term, and you get collective results. But Black people think that just continuing to do this foolish, whatever they're doing, and keep this mindset, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand. So, I mean, look, if we want to continue to do this, then I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I just want to know, when are we going to acknowledge the fact that whatever we think is appropriate to do right now, it's not good. It's not. Like, whatever we think is appropriate for the most part has never been anything that was beneficial to us. It's never been beneficial. We need to look at the people, what they're doing. We need to look at what they're doing and say, maybe it's time to adopt some of what they do. Maybe it's time to do that. Maybe it's time for us to get on code and deal only with Black people and what's for the best interest of Black people. Maybe we need to do that. Black people never think like that. They always think, oh, that Black person shouldn't have something. That Black person should have settled, because Black people still think just by letting them be in the system of white supremacy, the white people are doing something for them. That's just the reality. Black people think, oh, well, white people are letting us exist within their system of white supremacy. So even if they're treating us very poorly within that system, we should still be thankful, because really most of y'all believe that they really did take you out of those shitholes. That's what most Black people believe anyway. So, I mean, it's just, to me, I'm like, when are we going to get it? We don't get it. I cancel my Netflix account. This is pathetic. And the thing of it is I don't even think that Black people should go so far as to cancel their Netflix account, because understand, canceling your Netflix account isn't going to get Monique the deal that she wants out of Netflix. It's not going to get her any deal that she wants, because the problem with this situation is one called keeping Black people in check. And this happens to all Black people who speak the truth. So it wouldn't just be Monique, it would be you. Then you would have to do it for Monique and for every other Black person. And that means you would have to get nothing. Boycotting Netflix is not what Monique needs to address. That's not what she needs to address. She needs to address other Black people like Oprah and Lee Daniels, who've helped to get Monique blackballed. That's the problem. It's not just Netflix, because Netflix didn't get Monique blackballed. Really, Netflix is essentially just like a job, like any other place. If you and the job don't agree, like if I go to a job to get a job and I say, well, I think I should be paid $20 an hour, and they say, well, we think you should be getting paid 10, then at that point you just have a conflict of interest. I don't think that it warrants boycotting. Because the issue isn't her race when Dave Chappelle was over there getting paid $20 million. Cat Williams Cat Williams got a new comedy thing on Netflix. There's tons of Black comedians on there who are not getting paid a little bit of money. If they are giving Dave Chappelle $20 million, he's a Black man, so you might get away with saying, oh, they just don't like Black women. But you can't throw Black in there. Exactly. TT the Shan 99 said Monique should pick up her toys and leave the playground and work on her own thing. The problem is that most Black people, because again, they want to just take crumbs that white people hand out. So what they'll do is whenever they are in a position, whenever Black people are in a position where they have money, they have this wealth, they have things that they could utilize, they live paycheck to paycheck, okay? A lot of people don't understand that these celebrities are living paycheck to paycheck just like you are, okay? So they're not taking their money, even though you think that they should be, they're not taking their money and investing it in other businesses. Nick Cannon did. So Nick Cannon did it. So when Nick Cannon they were about to fire Nick Cannon from, I don't know if you guys remember, like, do you guys remember that situation with Nick Cannon where I guess he said too much and then the network that his, I think was it So You Think You Can, or America's Got Talent, when they were saying that they were going to fire him, Nick Cannon quit because Nick Cannon already knew that he wasn't just looking at one handout. You know, he didn't rest on that one basket of money. What Nick Cannon did was Nick Cannon spread his paychecks out. So he could have took an L from one of them. He said, oh, you don't have to fire me, I'll quit, okay? Because he's a boss. That's what bosses do. So Nick Cannon wasn't concerned what that network did. Now, what Black people should be saying is that why is it that Black people, whenever they have these money and resources, why don't they build up multiple businesses so that should something happen, should you get blacklisted from Hollywood, then you have other options out there? You think Nick Cannon cared if he was blacklisted from Hollywood? No, because he just listed out to you all his other businesses that he's tied up in. You think if I'm getting millions of dollars to pay millions of dollars to do movies, I'm just spending that millions of dollars, I'm not investing it, I'm not putting it towards anywhere, I'm not trying to do anything with it? You think that's what I'm going to be doing? No. Monique should not, and I'm not in Monique's finances, okay? But what I do know is that when that celebrity life is going good, and when you do have those $1 million paychecks coming in, you're not thinking about the future and what happens when that dry up. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking about living in the wealth of the moment. That's what a lot of Black people do. Because again, it's not managing money. It's not using foresight. It's simply spending money. That's all that it is. You're just spending money at the end of the day. This is what Black people do. So why is it that Monique, knowing she was going to come out and say whatever she wanted to say, and I think she should be honest. I think she should be honest. Look, this is why it's a problem for me to work at these white corporations, because I'm not about to bow to you and I'm not about to cater to your feelings as a white person. That is what you have to spend 90% of your time working for a white person as a Black person. 90% of that time is you censoring how you look, how you talk, how you feel about your Blackness, watering down yourself to make them feel comfortable. That's what you're doing most of the time while you're working. And I'm not going to do that, because I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm going to talk about what you're doing. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to just sit here and be your shuck and jive coon. So Monique should have knew that if she wasn't a shuck and jive coon, there would come a day when she would say something that would ruffle the feathers of people. Again, these celebrities don't understand how this system of white supremacy works. And that was one of the downfalls also of integration. That was one of the downfalls of integration, because now you have classism within the Black community, where you have rich Black people feeling like white supremacy doesn't apply to them. They can just be shummy because they're getting their $1 million paychecks, thinking it's off of their talent. And it is off of your talent. But at the end of the day, they know they can just go snatch another Black person who has talent, because there's a wealth of talent in the Black community. So they know they can just go snatch another Black person of talent off, pay them money, and then they will coon. That's why you have all these athletes out here disempowered, can't and won't say anything about situations that affect them, because at the end of the day, they're depending on those scraps from white people. Although those Black athletes make significantly less money than those NBA owners, they make significantly less money, but they don't care, because the mentality and the low self-esteem of Black people says it doesn't matter if this white man is making billions while I'm making millions. I'm still making millions, and most Black people don't have access to millions. So I'm going to take my millions, my individual millions. I don't care anything about what's happening to the overall community of Black people. I'm going to take my individual millions. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to be an obedient slave, and I'm just going to go over here and do my own thing. Who cares about the system of white supremacy? I'm rich, so I don't have to deal with that. But they don't understand that the system of white supremacy isn't based on you being rich, it's based on you being Black, okay? Thanks, Maya. I guess you like how the eyeshadow synchronizes with the curtains. Okay, thanks. That's lovely information that we needed to know. Golden Black said, but where has Monique been this whole time? We've been going through this shit too, though. Exactly. Well, Monique's been sitting up, not worried about what happens on the level of mainstream Black people, because remember, she's of the Black wealthy class, so she doesn't feel like any of these things really affects her and touches her. And celebrities, look, celebrities will rely on the mainstream public of Black people to boycott when it suits them. But again, where has Monique been speaking out against all of these other things? So it's like you got boycotted for saying basic stuff and not even fighting for your own interests. So I don't really care about that. But at the same time, I think that she shouldn't settle for anything that she thinks is beneath her. But I think she shouldn't have to settle. And I think she shouldn't have put herself in a position where she would even have to negotiate that. Because if Monique had solidified her finances for the future, she wouldn't even need to be calling for a boycott, because she wouldn't need to discuss $500,000. She would have said, well, the fact that y'all came at me with $500,000 is really that's really annoying. That's beneath me. I don't even need to talk about this conversation over. And if she had the amount of money that she needed, because if she had solidified it, she would have been able to play that card. She would not need to ask Black people to do a boycott. She's asking them to do a boycott because her not getting the deal with Netflix impacts her finances, obviously, because if it didn't impact your finances, you wouldn't care what Netflix was offering you. You just simply wouldn't take it. Network Not Found said, right, Golden, like how all these celebrities want us to do something, but they don't say anything for Black people. And they don't, because they know with Black people, you don't have to say anything. They're still going to get the support. But again, Black people work against their own interests more so than for their own interests. Tiana G said, we only see Monique when she's in some sticky business with the white coins. Oh, and that's, for the most part, that's the only thing you see from anybody. That's the only thing you see from any celebrities. Celebrities don't really rear their heads or talk to the mainstream Black people unless they want them to boycott Netflix, which for the overall diaspora of Black people, boycotting Netflix does nothing for all of Black people. It does something for Monique. That's why she's asking. But she's also asking because, like many Black people, she didn't think to the future, and she didn't think, okay, I have this one situation going on right now. It's giving me multiple millions of dollars. But whatever happens when it goes away? What happens if I can't get jobs? Because regardless to whether they blacklist you or not, some celebrities just don't get jobs because they're, especially Black celebrities, your time is up. Your 15 minutes is gone. You're just not getting jobs like that. So you should plan for that anyway. Anything could happen. You need to plan for that. But most celebrities like Monique are not doing that. They're not planning for the future. They know that they live in a system of white supremacy, but they're not responding as if they do. And Angelica said, right, these Black celebs are also tied to the church. If you look, the church is pushing deception and idleness. Yeah, well, they again, the churches is tied in with the government. All of it is a big scam. That's why we say this is a fake reality, because nothing even means what people say that it means. Sweet Tea said, next topic, because I'm getting aggravated having to talk about this. Talk about what, Sweet Tea? About Monique? Monique been speaking for us. She had a talk show that centered Black actors and entertainers and got canceled for it. Monique has spoken out about some things, Sweet Tea. She's spoken out about some things, but systemically, the system of white supremacy and how it's needed to be eradicated, Monique has said nothing about that. Nothing. Monique hasn't said anything. She said things about how the media portrays Black people. She has said some things about racism within Hollywood, but she haven't really said anything about the systemic system of white supremacy and what can be done and what should be done in order to dismantle it. She hasn't said anything. So she hasn't really said anything that would be beneficial to the overall diaspora. She hasn't. Sweet Tea said, how about we fight white supremacy and stop enjoying little trinkets like Netflix? You can't fight white supremacy by boycotting Netflix. That doesn't look. If boycotting Netflix because Monique called for it was going to do something about the system of white supremacy and its effect on Black people, I would be saying I'm all for boycott. But it's not. Boycotting Netflix does something about Netflix, though. It doesn't do anything about the system of white supremacy. So how can we fight white supremacy by boycotting Netflix? I'm failing to see how that will work. But I already said I think the support should go for Monique, right or wrong. It should, whether you think Monique is right or wrong, you should still support in her stance. But the thing of it is you also have to understand how celebrities tread lightly on really talking about the system of white supremacy. And while Monique has spoke out against some systemic issues, I've never heard Monique utter one word about the system of white supremacy, ever. If somebody has and somebody can direct me towards that, that's fine. But if you can't even mention white supremacy, then you're not going to do anything to eradicate it. So how has Monique spoke for us if she hasn't spoken about white supremacy? And I haven't heard her. So if she have, that's good. If she rounded up some Black people and put them all on the show, that's fine. If you don't have a Black-owned network and your network is still managed by white government and the FCC, it doesn't matter how many Black networks you put out there. And that's no disrespect to Sweet Tea. I'm not trying to put you out there, but the thing of it is that boycotting Netflix isn't going to do anything. And Monique has not acted on behalf of the interests of the Black community, except for the portrayal of Black women in on reality TV. She has mentioned that, but even that goes back to the system of white supremacy. So, I mean, talking about the system and ignoring the cause doesn't do anything but help to maintain white supremacy, because ultimately you're still not talking about the problem, and you can't solve the problem if you're not talking about what the actual problem. C. Noble said no Black celeb has really spoken out against white supremacy, and they're not going to, because they don't care about being in a system of white supremacy. I just said they don't care about the existence of a system of white supremacy. Black people are fine with a system of white supremacy. They don't want the system to go away. What Black people want is to be treated fairly and nicely by white people while they're in the system of white supremacy. And wanting white supremacy to go away and then wanting the participants and the initiator of the white supremacy to be nice to you are two complete different things. So it's just, you wouldn't go about it saying that, well, let's just boycott Netflix. Okay, well, what about this whole system that was in place before Netflix ever came about? Sweet Tea said you can't be a celebrity and talk about white supremacy. They will get rid of you. Ask Cap. No, you can't be a high-priced slave and then talk about white supremacy, because then they'll get rid of you. Okay? You can't be a high-priced slave and do that. If you being a celebrity means that you're conforming and submitting to white supremacy, then you're not a celebrity. You're a slave with a spotlight on you. That's all that means, is you're a slave and you got a spotlight on you. That doesn't mean that you're a celebrity. You can't even speak freely. So it's like, if you're sitting here as a celebrity, like, oh, well, I better just shut up and keep my mouth shut and go along with white supremacy, or they're going to get rid of me, then you're not a celebrity. You're a slave. That's what that means. You can't speak freely. You can't act freely. And whenever somebody else is controlling something of yours to the degree that you can't act or speak freely, you're a slave. It doesn't even matter if you think that you're a celebrity and you think that you're free. A free range chicken think it's free too, but it only has the ability to roam within the big open confines of a certain amount of acreage. But other than that, you might not have to be in that little tiny cage with the other chickens, but you're in a bigger cage. You just have more room to roam. Lord Garvey's daughter says, CJH, I see you keep on saying that. Do you know her exact finances? Who's to say that she isn't well off, unless she stated that no one should be under pay anymore? Let me see what CJH said, because I don't know. Black people don't want the responsibility of taking care of themselves. I do agree with that. I do agree, because they've been so dependent and they don't think that they can. But Black people don't think they can live without white people. Yeah, they should, but we know the score. They don't give a shit, so we need to be prepared to negotiate and have the option to say, fuck you. Exactly. So CJH gets what I'm saying. If Monique would have, and the thing, we don't need to be in Monique's finances. We really don't need to be in Monique's finances. I'm telling you, you can draw certain conclusions by looking at behaviors. We don't need to look at Monique's finances to know that she is in a financially disenfranchised situation. You can do deductive reasoning. You actually can do deductive reasoning. You can look at the fact that she's calling for a boycott because they wouldn't give her $500,000. If Monique was in a financially secure situation, how likely is it that she will be complaining about $500,000 and asking for a boycott? That's just the reality of it. People who don't need the money or who are in financially secure positions, they're not going to complain because Netflix doesn't give them $500,000. They're not going to do that. So we don't need to be in Monique's pocketbook. We don't need to be in her bank account. We can look at what she's doing and we can make logical conclusions off of that. We can sit here and say people who have more than $500,000 do not complain because somebody's only offering them $500,000 for over a week. She would have just moved on. She wouldn't be asking for a boycott. If she's asking for a boycott, she wants to force them to pay her more money. And if she wants him to force her to pay more money, that's because she needs it. She needs the money. Monique feels personally jaded. Netflix hasn't openly disrespected Black people. Exactly. I don't look. If it was about Blackness, I don't think Dave Chappelle would be getting anything. I don't think Cat Williams will be getting millions. I don't think any of the ones on there would be. Christian Divum said, well, they came to her. She didn't go to them. Monique is calling them out because there are women coming behind her. She has always talked about her responsibility to her ancestors. Okay, well, even if they came to her, especially if they came to her, she would have no problem saying, yeah, right, get out of here, and just moving right along if she didn't need the money. Okay? Especially if they came to you. Because if somebody pursues me and you're trying to pay me less than what I think I deserve, there's no possible way I'm not asking for a boycott. I'm simply going to laugh at you and keep it moving. Sweet Tea said, if Netflix or any company or entity disrespects one Black woman person, we are all disrespected and devalued. The thing of it is that I don't know that they really disrespected or devalued her. I don't know if that's really what we can say that they did, because then it will raise the question, are they devaluing her on her womanness, on her Blackness, or what would be the basis of them devaluing her? Because they just gave 2 Black men $20 million contracts. I'm not understanding, where would the devaluing based on Blackness be? Like, where is it at? I know, the Golden Black, I don't think Netflix disrespected her either. And if they did they disrespect her on the basis of her race, her gender, what? Like, I'm trying to figure out where, because I just want to understand how boycotting Netflix would solve any of Monique's. I don't think it would solve any of Monique's problems. It's bigger than Netflix. She feels as though she was lowballed. She hasn't been relevant since Precious. She was lowballed. Well, she was lowballed. That's the reality is she was lowballed. I think even if she haven't been relevant since Precious, they should have offered her more. But Netflix has, they don't have to offer her that. They can offer her whatever they want to offer her. And they said that they offered her that based on what they thought her value was. So clearly they don't feel like she has as much value as these other people. That's just a reality. Because I wouldn't, it's not even about negotiating skills. I wouldn't negotiate $500,000 if I felt like it was, I'm not negotiating something that's beneath me. Like $500,000 for Monique is non-negotiable. There wouldn't be any negotiating between that. Like I wouldn't negotiate that, because to me, I would be like, you disrespected me just by bringing me $500,000. That's disrespectful just to everything that I stand for. I don't think they offered her that $500,000 because she's Black. I don't think that they offered her that now, because it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so then they would have to be against Black women specifically. You would have to go to the extent to say, okay, well, they just don't like Black women, period. That's the extent that you would have to go to. C. Noble says she probably is being discriminated against based on gender. Honestly, how did Dave get paid so much? But even if we said it was gender, then Amy Schumer wouldn't have got the money that she got. So I don't think it's a race or gender thing. I honestly think it's a Monique thing, to be honest. Netflix has announced they will spend $8 billion on content this year. That's good. Sweet Tea said, that's being uncold to me. We have to support one another in our Black womanhood. We need to support all black people. It can't just be womanhood. It has to be Black people in general. Tiana G said she's making it seem like they offered her way more than came out with the $500K unexpectedly. Yeah, Lorraine Scarborough said they also offered Wanda Sykes, who is Black and lesbian, $250. The thing is, I wouldn't even made Wanda Sykes an offer, because now Wanda Sykes is really irrelevant. I wouldn't even made her an offer. I wouldn't want to do a comedy thing for her in general. Like now Monique, yeah, $500,000 is disrespectful to her. I wouldn't have offered Wanda Sykes anything, because I don't think that Wanda Sykes has the following or the comedic ability or the resume to even warrant $250,000. Like, because who's really trying to watch Wanda like that? How many Black women comedians have Netflix specials? Okay, then that's why I'm saying, Sweet Tea, we would have to go that route. It would have to be a Black woman theme. That's why I said in the beginning, you couldn't, the only way to say that it was a racially thing is to say that they don't value Black females. And that could very well be the case. Wanda has a huge white following. Well, I've never seen Wanda on anything, so. I personally never enjoyed Monique's stand-up. Golden Black, I've never seen any of her stand-up, so. C Noble said Black women are looked down on more than Black men are. I can believe that. I believe that. The real Aaron Collins said, I really think that is Monique's overall attitude. I like Monique, but I really believe she has a personal beef with Lee Daniels and others in the industry. And she might, well, she probably do. But I don't think any of that should be able to downplay her worthiness. I still think she's valued at more than $500,000, like attitude or not. I don't particularly enjoy her content. I haven't watched her stuff. The last time I watched something with Monique, and it was on Precious. So Monique is not that funny in stand-up. She tells too much bedroom secrets. Dumb. Sonya sees. Well, again, I can't say because I haven't watched her stand-up. I haven't watched her stand-up. I haven't watched it at all. So again, like I said again, the last time I watched her in something, it was because of it was due to, it was Precious. That's what it was. Mine was more about Precious than anything. Lee Daniels said he went into an AIDS clinic and saw so many Black women. He thought he was in a welfare office, and this is who gets support. Again, I don't support Lee Daniels things either. I don't watch Empire. I don't watch anything that Lee Daniels has to deal with. So, because everybody already know he's a gay coon. I don't like Monique, and I've never watched her stand-ups either, but there's a point to be made here. C Noble said, I agree. Sonya C said, but she was really funny hosting the BET Awards. The best. I don't watch the BET Awards. Like you guys, I don't really watch a lot of these things. I don't follow mainstream media shows like that. I don't have any interest in doing it. I really couldn't care less. So to me, it's a little bit like all of these shows that you guys are mentioning are shows that I don't watch. So I just don't watch them. And I don't and again, I don't watch Empire or anything that Lee Daniels does. She do Black Voodoo said Wanda is married to a white woman, so just by virtue of that, she wouldn't get my support. Let that white woman negotiate for you. I don't do that. And B said Monique's prison stand-up was funny to me. Well, I don't. Again, I haven't watched any of Monique's stand-up, so I can't. So the women's movement was for what? This is for the Black women who supported it. I don't support the women's movement, and I don't. And anybody knows who has watched my channel, you should know I don't support any of those things. I don't think that Black women should be attaching themselves because your issue isn't because you're a woman. White women have to deal with whatever they deal with between their men. That doesn't have anything to do with Black women. Where is the article, Angelica? Where's the article? Yeah, but I don't support people who are married to white people. So that's just the reality. Sweetie says, so Black women should only be valued and respected in Hollywood, entertainment, when we can find capitalist monetary value in them. i.e. relevance in Hollywood. I don't think Black women should be in Hollywood. I don't think Black people should be in Hollywood. I think they should start their own thing on their own. Because you're essentially asking, should Black women only be valued in these sectors that white people said they only have value in? So when you talk about Hollywood and all these Netflix and things like this, you're talking about whiteness. You're asking me to determine the value of a Black person within the system of white supremacy, which is only for entertainment and capitalistic reasons. Like, where have you been? That's why I said they should not be in, they shouldn't be in there. Like, why are they there? Like, Black people should have been started their own entertainment thing. Because whenever you're relying on white supremacy to set your value, they're never going to set your value as high. Like, that's the whole point of white supremacy, is that Black people's only value is by way of entertainment and capitalism. That is white supremacy. I don't know why there's any confusion over that. And until Black people establish a separate entertainment arena or industry for themselves and care about their own value and determine their own value that's separate from any value that white people gave you, then you're still going to have the same problem. So, like, we can't change the fact that Hollywood is a white supremacist structure, and white supremacy says Black people are only valued by their capitalistic ability and entertainment ability. Exactly. C. Noble said we're asking to be valued based on white people's standards, which is silly. That's the thing. People aren't getting the bigger picture. This isn't about Netflix. This is about why are Black people refusing to establish their own separate entertainment industry and start relying on white supremacy, Hollywood, to find value in them beyond capitalism and entertainment. When have white people ever valued you beyond capitalism and entertainment? That's the only value they've ever placed on Black people. Sweet Tea said, see, no, we're super silly. Like, how are we basing a Black woman's value off of capitalistic white supremacists? Well, you're in a system of white supremacy. So whenever you're a subject of the system of white supremacy, you don't have a choice but to be valued based on what they value you on. To get more value, Black people need to go establish their own entertainment industry. How long are you going to beg these people to value you? That's ultimately what it comes down to. So that's why I say with that's why I say Black people just should not be, they shouldn't be. We can look at this article that you just sent, Angelica, because I don't even know what that whole thing is about. So we'll have to look into it. But yeah, unfortunately, the system of white supremacy is not about to give Black people value that extends beyond entertainment or capitalism. That's exactly. Golden Black said if Monique was offered 10 million, she wouldn't be complaining. That's a fact. Well, and she wouldn't. So. It's the only system we keep giving life to. Right. And that's because I told you, Sweet Tea, Black people don't care about the existence of the system. That's not what Black people care about. Black people are interested in being comfortable and valued within that system. That's really the only way. That's honestly the only way, the best way that I can explain it is that Black people aren't really interested in making white supremacy go away. They're interested in being comfortable. That's what they're interested in. And once we understand that, then we'll understand why we're not having any, because progression to what? Like you're not. We need to find our way out of the system of white supremacy and stop begging for them to see you as valuable. They're not going to. White people already know in their mindset what they value, the parameters of valuing blackness. They already know what that is. And it doesn't matter how much we fight for it or try to get more value. You're not going to. You're chasing the unattainable. Exactly. Sinobo said, if we put this in perspective, we shouldn't be complaining at all. Black people refuse to break away from white supremacy, so why complain about it? It makes us look dumb. Again, that's what I've been saying. And clearly we're not. If Black people aren't going to actually make the necessary sacrifices, even to the degree of sacrificing your life if you have to get out of the system of white supremacy, then it's pointless talking about it. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like it's better to do these on Patreon, because then you limit it to people who are actually really serious about it. Everybody else is just playing, kind of trending. And so my thing of it is I'm not real interested in hearing dumb excuses. Like I'm just really not. I have to be honest. I'm not interested in dumb excuses, because the reality of it is that we would have been out of the system of white supremacy if Black people wanted to be out of it. That's just the reality. We don't. We keep making white people the standard and we need to stop. Well, the white people are the standard for Black people. That's reality at this point. That's reality. And I don't know when we're gonna, and my thing of it is I'm not really hopeful, because I just don't know when Black people, like, when are we going to get it? Like, I don't know what it's going to take. We're not learning. Sonia C said we actually can have a life without them. Most Black people don't want a life without them. So that has to be taken into account. Black people are not interested in a life without white people. We have to come to grips with the fact that this is just reality at this point. Black people are not interested at all in true liberation from white people. That's not what Black people want. They want white people to be nice. And I just don't really understand how, like, maybe when it's written in my book and people read it, maybe then they'll listen, maybe they'll get it. But I'm really starting to see the true desires of what Black people want. And I can assure you it's not to get out of the system of white supremacy. We would have been out of it if nothing. Black people are very determined. Okay. Black people are very determined. They've sacrificed their life for things. You can look over in the past and see how many life sacrifices Black people have made to obtain what they want. None of those things that they wanted was ever to be liberated from white people. Not truly. Anna B said, not until something directly affects them will they want to change things. And idiots, only dumb people do that. Only stupid people restrict themselves to caring about what directly affects them and waiting for it to affect them. You would just plan for the future so that it doesn't affect you, knowing that the possibility is there. Kadia Hunter says, Sin, I can't see your So Racist videos or any of your older videos. What do I need to do? Sorry for being off topic. So you see it where? You don't see it on Patreon or YouTube? Like where? What do you mean? The real Aaron Collins said Monique is basically doing a different version of what Jada Pinkett Smith did a couple of years ago. However, that was all because Will wasn't nominated. Exactly. Because they don't fight on the behalf of the overall Black community. It's always on an individual level. And I'm telling you, they don't care. Naturally, Nora said, I don't understand Black people like that at all. If I'm around devils too long, I feel like I'm suffocating. Yeah, but that's because you recognize the devil for what it is. Black people are not recognizing that. And I don't know what it's going to take, but they're not recognizing that. Only thing that we sacrifice for was integration. But she do Black voodoo, integration, that wasn't beneficial for Black people at all. So even when we do think we're getting together to fight for something that's going to benefit the collective, if it has to do with anything of including other people, equality, being in closer proximity to white people is always going to be the wrong thing. And like, we just don't get that you're not, what Black people fail to realize is this fact right here. You're not going to coexist harmoniously with white people. You're not going to have equality between the races. You're not going to have this utopia where Black people and white people are somehow getting along lovingly. You're not going to have a system of white supremacy where white people are just being, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So Black people don't understand that what they want cannot be obtained at all, and it's not going to while you're in the proximity. It's not possible for it to happen with you being in the proximity of white people. Until we realize and understand that, it is not going to happen, because in Black people's mind, they can still do something to cause white people to stop being racist, and that's not going to happen. So Black people will go on. What I predict is that Black people will go on forever with this notion, thousands of more years trying to get white people to not be demonic. That's really what's going to happen. She do Black voodoo said, why indeed we could, but Black men have not built our community. And the reason why is because they have no interest in the building of the Black community. They want to assimilate into the white community. So if the Black community isn't where you want to be and where you find value in, you're not going to, when I try to pull it up on Patreon, it'll go to the YouTube, but then it says the video is unavailable. I'll look into that, Kadia, because it shouldn't be doing that. It should be linking it directly to you, but I'll see. I'll go and actually, I think I probably are. I think I know what I did. So I'll go and fix that. Yeah, but what we'll do is we will keep going around in this circle, because if nothing has really occurred that's willing to change our opinion, then I don't really know what would. Christian Diva MD said, that's why I gave Dr. Boyce a rest. I got so sick of hearing about celebrities. I don't follow entertainment that closely, and gossip gives me a headache. Well, and the thing of it is these Black celebrities, they're living a separate delusional reality than you're living. They're living a reality to where they think their money shelters them from white supremacy. Look, it's the same thing. Black people seem to think that if they get in closer proximity to white people, shelter them from white supremacy. Black people think if they just be nicer, if they devalue Blackness, if they disassociate themselves from Blackness, if they coon out, if they date and marry and have sex with white people, if they create biracial children, then somehow this is going to get them the acceptance. So they're doing all these things to try to accomplish something, which is being exempt from the system of white supremacy, when in reality, they could just dismantle the system of white supremacy, have some black pride, and then you wouldn't even have to have these conversations about who's getting what from Netflix, because you'll be getting it from yourself. Like, it's just Black people at this point not understanding simple scenarios, because these things are not complex. They're really not. And I get that they might seem a lot more complex. Even dismantling the system of white supremacy is easy in and of itself. Dealing with the aftermath of you dismantling it would be hard, but the act of dismantling is actually, it doesn't really require as much as Black people think it is. It just requires more than what Black people are willing to give. She do Black voodoo said the only way Black men will build here is if we are forced through segregation. And then that's not really building at all, because if you're only building and uniting with your people, not because you want to and because you see value in it, but because the other people won't deal with you, that's not long lasting, because all you're going to do is sell out the next minute that you feel like the other community that you really want to integrate in is willing to do something for you. So that's just a reality. Sinopo said you can't coon your way out of white supremacy. That's one thing. Like, I get frustrated with Black people at this point, because again, there's too many things that I keep having to explain that Black people just don't get. I don't know what to do at this point. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm hoping that maybe when I get done with this book and put it out, maybe that might do something. But me saying it and reality representing it isn't really doing anything to Black people. So I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing at this point. Sonia C says that it's simple and we already have the blueprint. Yeah, we do. We do have the blueprint. We have everything we need. We've been had everything we need. Again, I will say it again, and I've said it before. The reason Black people are still in the system of white supremacy is because they want to be in it. And the Black people can sit here and they can claim that they don't. Yeah, you do. Because if you didn't, you would just get out of it. It's not hard to get out of it. Laura Garvey's daughter said, like, when that WAP pizza shop owner brutally beat that sister in the shop, Black male punks were saying they wanted their food. Yeah, again, that right there is... when you have them standing, that they just don't get it. And I don't need to backtrack into that because that's just going to upset me. But we're just really dealing with a group of people who do not get it. Again, if they don't see value in Blackness, this is the outcome of it. And it's because everybody want to put the cart before the horse. And they want to say, oh, we just need Black economics. Oh, we just need a code. Oh, we just need the organization. How do you obtain that with people who have no value? Sinobo said the only way we would unite to create change is if we were segregated again. But white supremacy isn't going to do that because it's not beneficial to them to segregate, or else they would be segregated. So, I mean, the thing of it is Black people are allowing them to have everything they want while we have nothing. And it's because we refuse to fight for anything. We don't want to boycott football. We don't want to do anything. We can't get off Facebook. I've been off Facebook for a year, by the way, and I'm fine. But Black people can't get off Facebook. That's too tall of an order. Not even for 24 hours. So there's nothing that we're willing to do. And when you're not willing to do anything to get change, you're not going to get change. It's just a guarantee. So She Do Black Voodoo said, who would not protect their own family? If Black people are showing now that they wouldn't protect their own family every time a race soldier gets away with murdering a Black person. So that's just a reality. It really is. But what are you guys doing for the weekend? If you're, I don't know. What are Black people doing for their, and have anybody here been to one of the Cracker Barrel restaurants? I keep seeing advertisements for those. I don't know if anybody has been to the Cracker Barrel restaurants. And if so, what do you think of them? Because I'm going to open it up to questions before I get off of here, which is going to be within the next 10, 15 minutes. Sharmika J said, I've been there. What did you think about it? Anna B, you said your cousins go. What did they think about it? I keep seeing I keep seeing commercials and I'm next to one, so I was wondering. Oh, Dane said he'll be doing his homework. I am so glad that I don't have to deal with homework right now. Like, I'm really happy that I don't have to, by the way. Because I remember those times when I had like a paper to write or an online assignment to get into. Like I'm just glad that I'm glad I don't have to deal with that, really. But there is one close to me, and so I was just wondering if I wanted, because I'm limited in options. I don't want to go to an Asian place. Asians really don't be using real food, and I don't have time for that. I really don't have time for it. So I'm just yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I want to go do that. Cracker Barrel hillbilly with some class found the good food good Southern Kentucky style. They also sell nice gifts. Good in Maryland, bad in Philly. It depends on which one you go to. A Cracker Barrel is good, but it's soul food. I like soul food if they cook it right. But to my knowledge, is white owned. So I don't know. I mean, I guess white people in the South are copying off a black way of cooking, so they can cook it somewhat good. But yeah, no, Laura Garvey's daughter, I had gotten something. You said Laura Garvey's daughter said, "You're right. Asians don't use real food. I'd be surprised if they use real meat." I actually got something from an Asian place. They're the hibachi place where I'm at. And it's like this Asian food buffet place, but I called and went up there to get something. And I think I asked for some chicken and broccoli, right? And while I'm eating it, I'm just noticing how the chicken doesn't have the texture of actual chicken. It doesn't have actual chicken. So that was a problem for me. I couldn't even eat it. Social Visual said it's country style food, but I would not say soul food. Okay, so probably white people's. It's Southern food like grits, chicken, steak. Oh, okay. I mean, I'll try it. I'll try it. I don't eat pork and they don't tell you pork is in the gravy. See, I don't eat pork and I'm trying to not eat beef. I'm trying to not eat beef, but I am going to see what they have. I think I might just get some of their roast beef. The first name, Cracker Barrel, says all you need to know. I'm ready to get back into school. I'm not ready to get into school. Yeah, and B, I'm thinking it might have been dog. It definitely did not. It certainly wasn't. Absolutely, it was not. We know this. It absolutely wasn't. By any means, it was not at all chicken. I know chicken when, yeah, there's no, it wasn't chicken. So, because chicken has a certain texture, and I'm sitting there not knowing if I'm getting rat or dog or something. And I don't want to, I'm not about to sit up there and do that. So I didn't even eat the food. I ended up getting a junior bacon cheeseburger from Wendy's. C. Noble said I only eat beef once a week. I eat it less than that. But on account of my iron being low, I think I'm going to get some roast beef. Their veggies are straight out of the can. You said I'm supporting KKK eating at Cracker Barrel. Yeah, I'm going to have to find something else then. If you don't eat pork, you shouldn't eat out a lot of these pizza restaurants because they put pork in their dough. It's hard to eat out when you're trying to eat healthy. It really is. It's hard to eat out, especially and not be when the thing of it is when you're not dealing with the problem is it's either coming up to, do I get actual food or am I dealing with some racism? That's really what it is. That's really what it is. And so I'm trying to see what I can, because I have to find something to eat. I don't like canned vegetables. That's retarded. Christian and Diva said, please check in the live stream. My sister says she can't live chat from her computer. She might be on the Patreon side then, not the YouTube. She needs to follow the link to the YouTube website. If she's trying to do it on Patreon, she won't be able to live chat. She'll only be able to comment. Oh, I got that. Whoever told me to get this this iron, I got it. This one. Who told me to get this iron? I got this iron that you guys told me to get. Just so you know. It says you have to put it in the Floradix liquid liquid iron. I got that. So the smaller the chicken makes it fresher. Some of these, oh, they're pumping it with hormones. If it's when the chicken is super big, it's because they're pumping it with hormones. That's what they're doing. Sonia C said, be sure to eat before iron. Actually, it tells you to take it before you eat. It actually says take it 30 minutes before your meals. C Noble said, does that help? I'm anemic. I just started taking it today, so I wouldn't know. I usually take the pill form, but I was told that the pill form doesn't really do anything. Yeah, I was told the pill form doesn't really work. So, but I'm going to get off of here because I need to, does it constipate you? I get constipated on iron. No, I haven't got constipated on iron. But I was only taking the prescription pills, and now I'm taking the liquid iron. It doesn't taste bad. It tastes like vegetables. Cheeto Black Voodoo said, how does the iron taste? It tastes like vegetables and fruit. It tastes like vegetables and fruit. But I'll let you guys know how I feel like it's working. I just started taking it today, so we'll see. But I'm going to get off here in pursuit of some food. And I will either, I'm going to try to get videos, regular videos uploaded to you guys today, now that my internet is back, and then I'll have them uploaded tomorrow too. My internet was down all day yesterday. Legendary Mother, I got that iron off of Amazon. It's $18.99 on Amazon Prime. I have the biotin hair care and multivitamins too. I have all those. So I'm trying some things, and we'll go over more things that I've tried, because we already did a live stream where we talked about hair and vitamins. And I know that some of these people clearly weren't in the chat room because they're repeating to me things that we already discussed. But I'll try to put some regular videos up today, and I'll have some tomorrow. I'll decide tomorrow. I might give you guys another live stream too, because there's something else I wanted to talk about. Shido Black Voodoo said, Vaisho is leaving YouTube too. I have to finish watching his broadcast. I was watching his video today, so I have to finish watching it, but it sounds like he was talking about some of the same stuff. But I'm a Patreon supporter of Vaisho, so even if he brings it to Patreon, I'll still see his content, because I've been subscribed to him. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. And I'll have some other videos, probably some racist comments. I'll probably have some of those videos posted and coming up to you guys too. So definitely look out for those, and they will be on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to go look for food. I'll talk to you later.